Welcome to Breaking Down Mental Health with Dr. Jones. In these educational videos, Dr. Jones will discuss mental health diagnosis, clinical supervision, using technology in counseling, multiculturalism, and many other topics to help you get a healthy understanding of why mental health is important. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button if you enjoy these videos.
It's really something how much things have changed in how we connect and get support.
Yeah.
Online group counseling, especially, after everything recently, it's become such a go-to for lots of people.
It really has. The accessibility is a huge factor.
Totally. Super convenient. But this shift online, it does bring up some important questions, particularly about doing it well, ethically and effectively.
Absolutely. And that's precisely what we're digging into today, those ethical considerations, the best practices for online group counseling.
Okay.
And our main guide here is the work of Dr. Michael Jones. He's a licensed professional counselor, a counselor educator, really an expert in telemental health.
Okay. So his perspective is shaping this.
Exactly. Everything we're discussing, it reflects Dr. Jones's insights pulled from his teaching, his clinical work, his research in this whole area.
Got it. So let's unpack that. Dr. Jones's work points to, four main ethical areas for online groups?
That's right. 4 key areas. Confidentiality, naturally. Then informed consent. Managing dual relationships, which gets tricky online. And really crucially, cultural competence.
Okay, those are big ones. Our aim here, then, is to pull out some practical takeaways, things that help you understand this unique online therapy world.
That's the plan. Because, while the internet gives us these amazing new ways to connect, it also throws in some, let's say, curveballs, things we really need to think through carefully.
Right.
Dr. Jones is clear that the basic ethical rules of therapy still apply, but putting them into practice online, that needs a very thoughtful, kind of nuanced approach.
Okay, let's start with confidentiality. That feels like the absolute foundation, doesn't it?
It really is.
Why is keeping things private so fundamental in therapy, and what, according to Dr. Jones, makes it even more complex with online groups?
Well, in Dr. Jones's view, confidentiality is, like you said, the bedrock. It's what creates that safe space where people feel they can actually open up, be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Now, move that group online, and it gets more intricate. It's not just about the privacy of a physical room anymore.
No.
Now we're dealing with the security of the digital tools themselves.
The platforms, yeah.
And the potential for information to, travel or be shared in ways that are just different from face-to-face. Think about it. A chat in a room mostly stays there online.
It can go anywhere.
Potentially, yeah.
So, based on Dr. Jones's work, what are the key steps? What should counselors running online groups do to protect confidentiality in this digital space?
Okay, so Dr. Jones is really firm on this.
Yeah.
Using secure, encrypted technology for all group communication, that's an absolute must.
Encrypted, like scrambled so others can't read it.
Exactly. Think of it as a digital lock on the conversation. Research totally backs this up, by the way.
Okay, secure platforms. That makes sense. What else is critical from Dr. Jones's perspective?
Another huge piece, according to Dr. Jones, is making sure clients really get the potential privacy risks online.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about explaining it.
Precisely. It's not enough just to use settler platforms. Counselors have to clearly explain the limitations, the potential risks, and the specific things they're doing to protect client info.
Transparency.
Total transparency. This open communication, it helps clients make truly informed choices about whether to join or not.
Right. Setting those expectations clearly right from the start sounds vital.
Yep.
What about the group members themselves? Does Dr. Jones talk about their role in keeping things confidential?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really crucial point Dr. Jones makes. He stresses establishing clear ground rules, clear expectations about confidentiality within the group, right at the beginning.
So everyone's on the same page.
Everyone. They all need to understand and agree to keep what's shared in the group. Well, in the group.
And the counselor's role there.
The counselor is key in laying out these rules. And importantly, even discussing what happens if someone breaks that trust, if those boundaries are crossed. It's about building a shared responsibility for that safe space.
Okay. And one more thing Dr. Jones mentioned was verifying identities. Why is that important for confidentiality online?
Right. Verifying who is actually in the group session. Dr. Jones sees this as a proactive step.
to stop random people joining.
Exactly. To prevent unauthorized access, you want to be sure the people logging in are the intended members and no one else is listening in or accessing sensitive stuff shared in therapy. It's like checking IDs at the virtual door.
Gotcha. Okay, let's shift to informed consent. We know it's crucial in any therapy. What makes it particularly critical online, according to Dr. Jones?
Dr. Jones really emphasizes that getting truly comprehensive informed consent is, well, maybe even more important online.
More important, why?
Because of the unique, let's call them pros and cons of this format, clients need to fully grasp what they're signing up for, specifically in the context of an online experience.
So consenting not just to group therapy, but to group therapy through a screen.
Precisely, with all that entails.
Okay, so what key things does Dr. Jones suggest need to be in that online-specific informed consent process?
First off, Dr. Jones stresses a really clear, detailed explanation, both the benefits and the limitations of doing group therapy online.
Limitations like?
Like explicitly mentioning potential downsides, technical glitches, dropped calls, platform issues.
Oh yeah, that happens.
And of course, those inherent risks to confidentiality we just talked about in the digital world. It's about being really upfront about the whole picture, good and bad.
That honesty about potential problems seems really key. What else should be covered in that consent based on Dr. Jones's guidance?
Dr. Jones highlights needing a consent form that is specifically designed for online counseling.
Not just a generic therapy form.
Definitely not. It needs to clearly spell out the terms of participating online, the specific policies on how confidentiality is handled, what the emergency procedures are.
Emergencies, like if someone's in crisis during a session.
Yes, or even if the technology completely fails mid-session. And super important, the client's absolute right to leave the group at any time.
That makes total sense. It has to be specific to this virtual environment. And Dr. Jones also brings up making this culturally sensitive.
Absolutely. This is a major point for Dr. Jones. The consent process has to be culturally sensitive and accessible. Meaning actively tackling potential language barriers, providing forms and explanations in the client's preferred language, if possible.
Yeah.
And also just being aware of different cultural norms that might shape how someone understands the information, how they make decisions about care, or even their comfort level with the whole idea of therapy or consent.
So being mindful of different backgrounds.
Exactly. Research really backs up this need to consider culture and how we talk about therapy and get consent.
Okay, let's switch gears to dual relationships. First, what exactly are they, and why does Dr. Jones see them as such a big ethical challenge in therapy?
Right. So basically, a dual relationship is when a counselor has another kind of relationship with a client, outside of just the professional therapy one.
Like being friends or business partners.
Could be friends, business partners, maybe they belong to the same small community group, things like that. Dr. Jones emphasizes these situations can create real conflicts of interest.
How so?
Well, they can blur those necessary professional lines, and ultimately that can put the client or the therapy itself at risk. It's all about keeping that professional boundary really clear.
And how does the online world, according to Dr. Jones, make managing these dual relationships even more complicated?
The digital space definitely makes things trickier. Dr. Jones explains that online interactions can sort of create new pathways for dual relationships that might not pop up as easily face-to-face.
For example?
Well, think about how easy it is to connect on social media. Or maybe you bump into someone unexpectedly in an online forum or group completely unrelated to therapy. These things can really muddy those professional boundaries.
Yeah, I can see that.
And sometimes, Dr. Jones notes, that feeling of anonymity online can even lead people, counselors or clients, to loosen boundaries in ways they wouldn't dream of in person.
Like a client finding your personal Instagram.
Exactly. That's the kind of blurred line Dr. Jones warns about.
So what are some key strategies Dr. Jones recommends for handling these online challenges? How do counselors navigate this?
Dr. Jones strongly advises maintaining really strict professional boundaries, like super clear lines, meaning actively avoiding any kind of relationship with clients outside the direct online therapy setting. He specifically calls out avoiding interactions on social media. That's a big one.
Right. Keep professional and personal separate online.
Absolutely. Research backs up how important that clear boundary is.
That seems like a solid guideline. What else does Dr. Jones suggest to help prevent these dual relationships online?
Well, it ties back to something we discussed earlier under confidentiality, verifying client identities.
Ah, right. How does that help here?
Dr. Jones points out that verifying identities is also a key step in preventing unintentional dual relationships. If the counselor knows exactly who they're interacting with online,
Then they're less likely to accidentally start therapy with, say, their cousin's friend they vaguely know from Facebook.
precisely, it lowers the risk of unknowingly stepping into a dual relationship with someone from another part of their life.
Okay. And lastly here, Dr. Jones emphasizes training for counselors specifically on this.
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Jones highlights that it's essential for counselors to get specific training and ongoing education, too, on how to recognize and effectively manage the unique challenges dual relationships pose online.
It's a specific skill set for the digital age.
It really is. Understanding these dynamics, learning how to navigate them ethically, it's crucial for responsible practice. Plenty of research supports that need for specific training.
Okay, on to our final core area highlighted by Dr. Jones, cultural competence. Why does he see this as so incredibly vital for online group counseling?
Dr. Jones views cultural competence as just fundamental. It's about making sure online group counseling isn't just there, but that it's actually fair and effective for people from all sorts of different backgrounds.
And without it,
Without it, there's a real danger of providing services that just don't fit, or might be insensitive, or could even potentially be harmful.
harmful how?
Well, think about how different cultures might view asking for help or expressing emotions openly in a group. If the approach isn't culturally aware, it might clash with someone's values or experiences.
Okay. So what are some key ways Dr. Jones suggests integrating cultural competence into online group work?
One crucial aspect, according to Dr. Jones, is actively adapting the counseling approaches, the interventions, to really fit the specific cultural needs and norms of the clients in that group.
So not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Definitely not. It could mean considering different communication styles, different values, different beliefs about family or community, all things that influence how clients engage in the group.
That makes sense. What about language? How does that fit in, according to Dr. Jones?
Addressing language barriers is another critical step Dr. Jones points out. Whenever feasible, services should be offered in the client's preferred language. And beyond just speaking the language, all the materials used, consent forms, any handouts or resources they need to be culturally appropriate and easy to understand linguistically.
Right, accessible in every sense. And Dr. Jones also talks about a broader cultural awareness, a sensitivity beyond just language.
Yes, exactly. Dr. Jones stresses being sensitive to cultural differences in how people communicate. That includes nonverbal cues, which can be harder to pick up online.
True.
Also, differences in help-seeking behaviors, understanding that seeking mental health support isn't viewed the same way everywhere, and just being aware of deep-seated attitudes towards mental health and therapy itself.
Really being attuned to those nuances.
Vitally important, yes. And research underscores this need for deep cultural sensitivity.
And it sounds like from Dr. Jones's perspective, this isn't a one-time training thing, it's ongoing.
Absolutely. Dr. Jones emphasizes the continuous need for counselors to keep learning, keep training, keep developing their cultural competence.
Why?
It includes becoming more aware of their own potential biases, their own assumptions that could unintentionally creep in and affect the therapeutic relationship. It's really a lifelong commitment to learning and self-reflection.
To provide the best, most ethical care to diverse groups.
That's the goal.
Okay, so beyond those four core areas, Dr. Jones also brings up some more general ethical points important for online groups. What are some of those?
Yeah, Dr. Jones definitely runs the scope. One really critical point is having very clear emergency procedures established beforehand.
For what kind of emergencies?
Both kinds, really. Knowing exactly what to do if a crisis situation comes up with an individual member during a session.
All right.
But also having plans for handling technical failures. What happens if the platform crashes mid-session? What's the backup plan?
Having a plan B for tech issues seems essential online.
Yeah.
What else does Dr. Jones highlight as a general ethical must-do?
Dr. Jones stresses how vital it is for counselors to be fully aware of and strictly follow all the relevant legal and regulatory rules.
Rules governing online counseling.
Exactly. Things like licensing requirements, jurisdictional issues like what are the rules if your client is in a different state or even a different country.
Oh, that sounds complex.
It can be. It's an area that needs constant attention and staying up to date.
Okay. And finally, Dr. Jones also touches on what happens after the group finishes.
Yes. He emphasizes the ethical responsibility for continuity of care.
Meaning
providing appropriate follow-up after the group ends, and having clear protocols for making referrals to other professionals if a client needs ongoing or different support.
So the support doesn't just abruptly stop.
Exactly. It ensures clients have pathways to continued care.
So pulling all these ideas together, what are some of the key best practices Dr. Jones recommends for actually running effective and ethical online groups?
Okay, so Dr. Jones outlines several key practices. One big one is conducting thorough individual pre-group sessions.
Meeting one-on-one before the group starts.
Yes. It serves a dual purpose. First, to assess if the online group format is actually a good fit for that person because it isn't for everyone.
Right. And second, to give them a really good orientation. Explain how the online group will work, what to expect, answer their questions.
This sets the stage properly.
Exactly. It helps set expectations and address concerns up front.
That initial screening sounds really valuable. What's another best practice Dr. Jones highlights?
Careful group formation. Dr. Jones emphasizes being strategic about selecting members.
How so?
Choosing people who are likely to benefit from the online format and contribute positively to the group dynamic. It also means keeping the group size manageable.
Manageable for online interaction.
Yes. Online dynamics can be different, maybe harder to track engagement sometimes. So keeping the group size appropriate for effective online discussion is key.
Okay. And during the sessions themselves, what does Dr. Jones recommend for running them well?
Dr. Jones points to the need for skilled session management.
Like having an agenda.
Yeah, using structured sessions, maybe with clear agendas, and using effective time management techniques. The goal is to make sure everyone gets a fair chance to participate and engage. Creating a supportive structure within the online space.
Exactly. It helps foster meaningful interaction.
And lastly, what about after the sessions, according to Dr. Jones? Any best practices there?
Yes, follow-up. Dr. Jones emphasizes the importance of offering follow-up, maybe brief individual check-ins with members as needed.
Why?
To monitor their progress, see how they're doing, and address any individual concerns that might have come up after a group session or weren't fully addressed in the group context.
Shows ongoing care.
It shows a commitment to their well-being beyond just the scheduled group time.
So wrapping this all up, it really sounds like while online group counseling offers these incredible benefits, accessibility, convenience it absolutely demands, as Dr. Jones's work makes clear, a really deep, thoughtful commitment to ethics and best practices.
Exactly. That's the core message from Dr. Jones's insights. By really focusing on confidentiality, using secure tech, being transparent, by ensuring informed consent is thorough and culturally aware, by carefully navigating those tricky dual relationships in the digital age, and by constantly working on cultural competence, professionals can offer responsible, effective, and truly helpful care in these online group settings.
It definitely drives home that the technology is just the medium, isn't it? The ethical foundation remains paramount.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder, though, with telemental health tech evolving so fast, how will these ethical guidelines need to adapt in the future?
That's a great question. An ongoing challenge.
And maybe for you, the listener, it's worth thinking about how these principles, confidentiality, consent, boundaries, cultural awareness, play out not just in therapy, but in other online groups you're part of, work teams, social groups.
Good point.
It's a solid reminder, isn't it, that being ethically aware is just so important in pretty much all our digital interactions these days.